not only with what they've seen, but what they've done. Until the Vietnam War confronted us in our living rooms via television, the reality of war was hidden from most of us. David Ransom spent a weekend with a group of Vietnam veterans who still live with the scars of their war experience.
Some days are diamonds, some days are storm. Sometimes the hard times won't leave me alone.
Their war is now a quarter of a century old, but these veterans are still trying to survive Vietnam, each in their own way.
Some days are diamonds, some days are stone.
I find it impossible to show affection to people. I dearly love to have a lasting relationship with someone. I just can't. My wife woke up many a time with a bleeding mouth because I thought I had dead bodies around me. I wake up swinging my arms around. Next thing, she's got broken teeth, black eye, everything else, so she couldn't take it anymore.
It's like somebody took your legs out from under you. You know, I mean, every time you think you're going all right, all of a sudden you're in a different space. And then you're all of a sudden battling the world again because people are saying, oh, you know, that guy's gone off his head again.
I got no feelings, and my kids say, why can't you cuddle me? And I can't, and I don't know why. It's a hate. When I got back to Australia, I just felt that I wasn't wanted. And it's just carried and sticking to me, and I just can't shake it.
Only one incident marred the proceedings. A young typist, daubed with red paint, grabbed at the march leader, Lieutenant Colonel Priest, smearing his uniform.
This protest symbolised the growing anti-war sentiment in Australia at the time. To some, it swept away a national indifference. But to many who fought, it spawned a strange personal conflict, fed by anger, guilt and resentment. Far from getting a hero's welcome, some men landed back from Vietnam at night and were left to find their own way home and get on with their lives. One day, they're with their mates facing death in a foreign jungle. Virtually the next, they're back in the quiet of Australia, away from their mates, away from the danger. They felt rejected, even by the RSL. Nightmares, flashbacks and violent rages led to drug and alcohol abuse, divorce and even suicide. Many found comfort only in the company of other veterans.
Well, I think they knew who they wanted, mate. I reckon it was set up right from the start. They knew. Like, I was a dumb bastard, they just took me. Yeah?
Well, that's the whole idea, but soldiers are young.
Yeah.
You want to send them to war, you send them young.
Yeah.
Wearing all the marks of middle age, these veterans come for a weekend at Mount View, on the edge of the Snowy Mountains, home of SAS veteran Jack Thurgar.
Some of the men that I know and have visited, they've totally retreated and that they don't come in contact with people. They don't register for unemployment benefits, sickness benefits. They will probably die alone and their bodies will be found someday by bushwalkers. And they've made quite good retreats for themselves in either caves or in old caravans and things like that.
You go and try and unwind, you know, it's the hardest part.
I'm already back there, mate.
Oh, yeah?
The coffee tastes the same.
These veterans are not so isolated, but all are damaged in some way, a combination of Vietnam and neglect on their return to Australia.
It's very hard to explain, you know, and your kid says, what's wrong, Dad? Why? You know, cuddling, you push him away. There's something there, you don't know why, but yet someone looks at me, I say, what are you looking at? I want to fight him.
You're finding more and more people are dying, more and more people are suiciding, right? And you think all the suicides would be a couple of months after they come home, but no, it's years after. And these poor blokes are dying, and next thing you hear that one of your mates has got the vacuum cleaner, a hose put on the back of his car, played a bit of country western music in the Jim Beam and he's passed over, he's dead, right? And you think, well, is that going to happen to me?
I mean, padres, we had a bunch full of padres, you know. You went to them and you said, Padre, I'm just about to go out, you know, like we're going on ops tomorrow, what happens? And he says, well, you've got to do your job, son. Then you figure it when you're out there. at some point in time, you've committed the ultimate atrocity. When you've done that, you come home, you're going to carry that for the rest of your life. Nobody can take it away from you.
So, do we go to hell because we killed?
Okay, now I've got a trick question for you guys. Yep. What else can you do with the swag?
Make a tent out of it. Yep.
Essentially, the men that come here are full of anger still. And that anger unfortunately manifests itself in antisocial behaviour. And also they're very destructive within their family element. I believe that the best thing that they can try to do is work through their problems in this safe environment, and where they can talk to other men suffering the same problems as they, and that by learning to trust each other again, they can then start to re-emerge into their family. The other thing is that they have to take on board the fact that they are acting differently than most other members of society, and that they can get great love and great help from their family.
You can walk in the pub, could be a dozen blokes. You always pick a veteran out, and you've got a conversation with him. Walk in the pub and there's no veterans, you've got no conversation.
We need this help, notwithstanding those systems of drugs, alcohol.
Veterans deal with their pain differently. Norm Wotherspoon wrote about it.
He learned to look at death and laugh, using that harsh and brutal humour which covers over sadness and despair. The callous crudities which soldiers use when struggling to come to terms with their own mortality, when striving to preserve their fragile sanity.
You are an 8-man rescue team. There's been an aircraft which has crashed with about 124 people on board that is over the other side.
Jack Thurgar believes veterans gain from sharing experiences. Here they're trying to work out how to cross a river.
One of you guys come across.
More than just grown men playing games, it's one of several problem-solving exercises Jack has designed to recapture the sort of confidence and cooperation drilled into these men when they first became soldiers.
Now, hold the time. Right, now you gotta jump in the water, jump. Oh! Yeah.
The reward for ingenuity is some heavy-duty outward bounding. Could this not be seen, though, to be indulging the old Vietnam imagery and memories, that it might be better to be getting on with life as it is, rather than bringing back the old experiences?
Unfortunately, the problem is that war affects different people in different ways. One of the greatest problems is that those who suffer from, say, post-traumatic stress will re-experience these flashbacks and or memories, and they cannot control it.
Easy break off.
This is a non-threatening environment. The other thing is that they're with only the people that they last felt good with. By that I mean veterans, other veterans.
Clinical psychologist Wes Killam is the director of the government's now generally well-regarded Vietnam Veterans Counselling Service. And he sees great value in this weekend.
Did we fail them? In many respects, yes. I think Vietnam is one of those turning points in our history in terms of our understanding of war, and the understanding has come for some people too late. And I guess good counselling or good comradeship or good friendship, good support, however you want to put it, has to at some point address the question of meaning. The grief, the sense of loss, the shame, the guilt, all the feelings that people have after war. I think you have to find a way of making sense of it and then accommodating it within your life.
1, 2, 3.
Making sense of the Vietnam War is hard enough for anyone. How much more for those damaged by the experience and for years left to heal themselves? Here on Jack Thurgar's farm, these veterans learn how other warriors have dealt with the aftermath of war. why, for example, some American Indians had a tradition of telling their stories to the oldest women of the tribe.
Each time at the end of telling your story, you were to ask for acceptance, understanding and forgiveness. You know, forgiveness for having killed, which was effectively against the moral order, understanding and acceptance. And the notion was at the end of that time you had, if you like, fulfilled your duty to your tribe and been welcomed back as a full member of your community again. When I was talking to the Indians, they said, look, you've got your own rituals in your community, go and find them.
Main force Viet Cong forces.
The weekend away on Jack Thurgar's farm does not promise miracles for these men, but it does give them a chance to reflect on how far they've come down the healing road and how far they might go.
What do? Do you just wallow in your own personal pity and your own feelings of guilt or your own anxieties, and that sometimes you find that by going out and helping others, you can help yourself?
And I think that working, as Jack said, working with people with problems to help them to overcome their own, but maybe too I've sort of put Vietnam as part of my life, not as a whole of my life.
I've met vets. I went to a hospital a month ago and people I never met in my life. First minute we're sitting there talking, I can't do that in society. I just can't talk to anyone outside. It's known fact, but a vet, we seem to have something there that we just click.
And it gives you something.
And gives you something. And then you can sit there and talk, and the comrades, you don't care what they did or what they were, there's something there, and then we don't know what it is. And it sort of strives to say, give me your address and ring you, and they do. They damn well bloody ring you from Western Australia, you don't even know them.
So do you think you'll ever reach the stage that Norm feels he's reached, and that is that being a Vietnam vet now is part of his life, not all of his life?
That's a hard one for me. I honestly can't answer that one. That's a hard one for me.
I've come to the conclusion that the Vietnam veteran are my new extended family. And what do you do in life? You just look after your family. So that's what I will do until my dying days, is look after my family, which are the Vietnam vets.
So being a Vietnam vet for you is really all your life?
It is my family. I have my mother and sister and that really don't understand me. My two children do, because they have lived with me. But the people who do understand me, respect me and support me are the Vietnam veterans. So as far as I'm concerned, for the rest of my life, they are my family, and they are the ones I love and the ones I will go out of my way and support for the rest of my life.
But you don't think there'll ever come a time when you'll reach outside this family to find satisfaction?
I've had 20 odd years to try to find that. I have now come to the conclusion that they are my family.
Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. Sometimes the hard times won't leave me alone. Sometimes the cold winds blows a chill in my bones. Some days are diamonds, some days don't.